Lloyd, after saving everyone from the undead orcs, travels to Namaran in search of clues about the mastermind behind the chaos in Frontera County. Along the way, he stops at a sludge disposal plant and asks Podon to open the lead. Solides, using his dragon powers, burns the waste, much to his embarrassment. The system rewards Lloyd with immunity to infectious diseases and credits him with establishing the first public waste system in Lower Asia, marking the beginning of public health awareness. As Lloyd prepares to leave for Namaran, he finds several carriages outside his mansion. The Count explains that the daughters of noble families have gathered there after their fathers assumed Lloyd would reconsider marriage if he met them. The Count, eager to see grandchildren, even made a special token card for the occasion. However, Lloyd realizes that the women are more interested in his status than him. As the suitors enter, each mistakenly assumes that Javier is Lloyd and runs away upon learning the truth. However, the third lady, the eldest daughter of Count Siluria Namaran, recognizes Lloyd immediately. In the novel, she was Javier's lover and sacrificed herself to protect Namaran. She informs Lloyd that many refugees have arrived in Namaran after losing their homes to monster attacks. Lloyd grows worried, knowing that Sanavero's plan will soon activate, draining energy from the refugees and summoning the powerful Hell Knight, a near-divine being capable of destroying the entire region. Lloyd and Javier prepare to leave for Namaran. Javier, holding a basket full of love letters, asks if Lloyd ever received any. When Lloyd says no, Javier offers him one, but Lloyd refuses, saying it belongs to Javier. Disappointed, Javier sighs as Lloyd walks away. On the journey, Lloyd asks the princess if there are any issues in the county and warns her about potential dangers if the kingdom's borders aren't secured. She agrees and thanks him for his insight. Upon arrival, the princess introduces Mr. Cannavaro, the man helping the refugees. Lloyd notices a strange symbol on Cannavaro's shirt and suspects him. At the Count's mansion, the Count mistakes Javier for Lloyd due to his noble appearance. The princess corrects him, loudly defending Lloyd. Javier teases Lloyd, making him angry. That night, Lloyd confides in Javier about the demon symbol on Cannavaro's shirt and asks for proof of his wrongdoing. Javier, amused, jokes about Lloyd's appearance, leading to a fight. The next day, Lloyd is shocked to see shirts with the same symbol being sold. Javier reports that Cannavaro's place is protected by a strong magic lock. Lloyd realizes they must act fast before the barrier is activated. Javier promises to gather evidence soon. Lloyd sends a messenger pigeon to Master Corgidus to speed up the construction of the anchor system at Namaran Hills. While checking the site, he hears people praising a beautiful woman at the distribution center. Finding it odd since there was no mention of such a person, he becomes suspicious and decides to investigate. When he arrives, he sees a long line of people eager to meet her. Pushing through the crowd, he is shocked to find that the woman is actually Javier in disguise. Disgusted by the comments people make about Javier's appearance, Lloyd mocks him using sign language. Javier insists he is undercover, but Lloyd remains doubtful and warns him that he is being watched. Meanwhile, Javier spies on Cannavaro, who speaks mysteriously with someone, confirming Javier's suspicions. At the construction site, Lloyd discovers skulls buried underground. As he digs, he finds even more, realizing they are linked to black magic. Meanwhile, Cannavaro meets with cult members to proceed with their plan. Lloyd unknowingly disrupts it by purifying the dark energy using his absorption skill. He also finds valuable crystals inside the skulls, worth more than Sir Bayern's salary. Grateful, he promises to give the remains a proper resting place. At night, Javier tries to explain why he was dressed as a woman, but Lloyd interrupts, saying everyone has their own preferences. Javier insists that it wasn't like that, but Lloyd keeps teasing him, making Javier even more frustrated. Changing the topic, Javier tells Lloyd about a hidden underground door beneath Cannavaro's mansion. Lloyd continues to joke about Javier's new preference, irritating him further. Meanwhile, Cannavaro is shocked to learn that all the skulls have disappeared. His followers worry that their plan is ruined, but Cannavaro reassures them with a sinister smile, stating the Hell Knight will still arrive as planned. The next day, Javier, still in disguise, spills a bucket of water. The owner tells her to dry up inside as some men were staring. Using this opportunity, Javier sneaks into Cannavaro's mansion, changes his clothes, and suppresses his mana to hide. He observes Cannavaro using magic to open the secret door and memorizes the spell. After Cannavaro leaves, Javier replicates the spell and enters. As he moves through the corridor, a mutated orc attacks. Javier dodges and counters with a mana punch, but it barely affects the creature. More undead orcs appear, confirming Javier's suspicions as he prepares for battle. As more orcs appear, Javier notices a bald man peeking at him. When their eyes meet, the man quickly shuts the door. Javier defeats all the orcs and kicks the door open, sending the man flying. Begging for mercy, the man confesses that he is just a hired mortician ordered by Cannavaro to handle bodies in the medicine room. When asked about the bodies, he reveals that the refugees died from illness, but Javier knows they were murdered. Enraged, Javier breaks his other leg and rushes to inform Lloyd. Upon reaching Lloyd's room, Javier finds it empty. Realizing he must act fast, he heads to the mortuary to capture Cannavaro but finds the place deserted. Suddenly, purple clouds spread across Namoran and Javier feels his mana being drained. Running outside, he sees that a barrier has been deployed, draining energy from everyone. Furious, he decides to find Lloyd. At the Count's mansion, most men collapse due to the mana drain. The princess, unaffected by the barrier due to a mysterious necklace, arrives. Meanwhile, a dark mage, confident in his victory, boasts about conquering the world. Lloyd interrupts him, demanding answers, but the mage ignores him. Frustrated, Lloyd swings his shovel at him, only to find it bent against the mage's protection spell. Undeterred, Lloyd gathers all of his mana for another strike. Lloyd manages to damage the dark mage slightly but not enough to defeat him. He tries to absorb mana from the mage's necklace, but fails due to another protection spell. Seeing the mage's smug grin, Lloyd suspects he cannot move or it would disrupt the barrier. When he points this out, the mage's smile fades, confirming his suspicion. Meanwhile, inside the barrier, Cannavaro walks past the suffering people, ignoring their pleas for help and even kicking one. He reaches the statue of the fallen angel and begins the ritual to summon the Hell Knight. Back outside, Lloyd digs beneath the mage until only a small patch of dirt supports him. Activating his devil mode, Lloyd blows air into the mage's ear, making him lose balance and fall. This causes the crystal's magic to fail, knocking the mage unconscious and weakening the barrier. Lloyd inspects the crystal, confirming his theory. Cannavaro notices the disturbance but continues his incantation. The princess arrives, demanding answers. Instead, Cannavaro attacks her with a mana blast, but she absorbs it and counters with a massive mana spear, injuring him. As she questions him, Cannavaro completes the ritual, announcing that the Hell Knight is coming. The statue cracks, shocking her. Just as Cannavaro attempts a surprise attack, Javier arrives and chops off his hand, saving the princess. Javier cuts off Cannavaro's hand to save the princess and prepares for another strike, but suddenly the ground shakes and lightning destroys the statue. The debris almost hits the civilians, but the princess blocks it in time. Cannavaro, believing he has won, announces their defeat as the Hell Knight emerges from the smoke. However, everyone is shocked to see that the Hell Knight is incomplete, missing his legs and horse. Realizing the barrier was removed before the ritual could finish, Cannavaro orders the Hell Knight to kill Javier. The Hell Knight charges at him, swinging his massive sword. Javier blocks but struggles under the immense force. The Hell Knight teleports behind Javier, ready to strike, but the princess interrupts with a wind dagger, allowing Javier to dodge. Furious, the Hell Knight turns to attack her, but Javier uses an aura blast, successfully beheading the Hell Knight, who turns to ashes. Cannavaro is in disbelief, but as Javier points his sword at him, the Hell Knight suddenly rises again. Cannavaro reveals that mortal attacks cannot kill him. The Hell Knight introduces himself as Yalexius, a commander of Hell, and challenges Javier. The intense battle resumes, with Javier struggling to keep up but impressing the Hell Knight with his resilience. Javier struggles against the Hell Knight's teleportation skills but manages to force him to reappear. As Javier prepares to counter, the Hell Knight grabs his leg and slams him into the ground, leaving him badly injured. Just as the Hell Knight is about to finish him off, Lloyd distracts him by claiming that he will return to Hell if his summoner dies. The Hell Knight hesitates, sensing something terrifying about Lloyd and believes he might be a powerful ruler from Hell. Lloyd begins counting, but the Hell Knight suddenly attacks him. Lloyd dodges, but Cannavaro is severely wounded in the process. The Hell Knight assures Cannavaro that as long as he is alive, things will be fine. Lloyd's plan fails, and Javier, though exhausted, tries to fight again, but is forced to back off. The Hell Knight prepares to strike Javier, but Lloyd intervenes, leaping onto his back and grabbing him. The Hell Knight warns Lloyd that touching him will corrupt his mana heart, but Lloyd calmly responds that he has purified black mana before. The Hell Knight is terrified when Lloyd starts laughing. The system alerts Lloyd that while his mana heart is temporarily stronger, he is still no match for the Hell Knight, who now sees him as a real threat. The Hell Knight tries to get rid of Lloyd by stabbing himself, but Lloyd dodges and mocks him. Frustrated, the Hell Knight struggles to shake him off. Meanwhile, Javier recovers and lands a strong attack on the Hell Knight's abdomen. Though wounded, the Hell Knight teleports to avoid further strikes. Lloyd, still clinging to him, notices that Javier is faster but still unable to match the Hell Knight's speed. Suddenly, a system message appears, confusing Lloyd. It suggests activating the messenger contract and instructs him to sing. Though puzzled, Lloyd starts singing. The Hell Knight, believing it to be an ancient spell, feels unbearable discomfort as if his brain is being scratched with an iron nail. Lloyd continues, making even Javier struggle to endure the awful sound. Lloyd finally realizes why his parents had forbidden him from singing. His voice was so bad that people reacted violently. Remembering past incidents, he now uses his terrible singing as a weapon. The Hell Knight collapses, overwhelmed. Javier quickly lands a finishing blow, thinking it's over. However, he notices dark mana surrounding them and warns Lloyd. At a distance, the Hell Knight begins reconstructing himself. Javier tells Lloyd to retreat, but Lloyd insists that the battle is already decided. Lloyd moves toward the Hell Knight, but Javier tries to stop him. Lloyd makes a bet. If the Hell Knight survives, he will serve him for a year, but if not, Javier must dress as Mrs. Javiella when they return. Lloyd attacks with his full power, but collapses from mana exhaustion. However, he absorbs the dark mana, which the Hell Knight warns will kill him. Lloyd starts coughing blood, struggling to endure the overload. The princess and Javier give him their mana to help him survive. With their support, he purifies the dark mana and announces the exorcism is complete before fainting. The princess worries, but Javier assures her that Lloyd always ends up like this but recovers. That night, Cannavaro is arrested and sent to prison, awaiting judgment from the queen. Meanwhile, construction is halted because the workers are too weak due to the barrier's effects. Remembering that he absorbed part of the Hell Knight's power, Lloyd realizes he can now control undead. Excited, he meets a group of undead, former victims of Cannavaro who seek a place to belong. Lloyd names them the Frontera County Skeleton Squad, thrilled to have free labor. Javier, too exhausted to react, simply goes back to sleep. The next day, the Frontera Skeleton Squad worked hard, completing construction without needing pay. Lloyd enjoyed watching his free labor, but Count Namarin fainted upon seeing the undead working. Lloyd quickly told him that he was a summoning genius who summoned these creatures with his shiny eye, which surprised the Count. Winter arrived, but construction continued smoothly. Meanwhile, Javier inspected his hand, recalling how the princess helped him. Suddenly, the princess appeared, not for a project update, but to ask Javier to teach her how to use mana more efficiently. Javier, feeling shy, agreed. Watching from a distance, Lloyd remembered how, in the original novel, the princess died and Javier was abandoned due to his cursed mana. But now things had changed and Javier was happier than ever, making Lloyd proud. A few days later, construction finished and the Count paid Lloyd 10 times the cost as promised. The Count even offered to make Lloyd his son-in-law, but Lloyd refused, saying Namarin already had a great successor. As they returned to Frontera, Javier kept his bet and wore the Mrs. Javiella outfit, making Lloyd laugh. Just as Lloyd was ready to relax, a royal messenger arrived, announcing that Lloyd had to leave for Asfahan immediately. Before he could react, royal guards kidnapped him for the mission.